just like a red, white, and blue phoenix rising from the ashes of political bipartisanship. We are back to Salt of the Streets podcast.
This is Saturday, March 5th, episode 123, 12:09 p.m.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Salt of the Streets podcast, your one and only source for all the social and political commentary on the weekly news, pop culture, and sports. As much of it as you can handle. And the best part about the whole deal, it's all built from the ground up for people like you and me, the everyday normal person. So come down and join us as we discuss life, liberty, and that pursuit of happiness, and continue our endless endeavor to bridge the gap between people and information. As always, we are your hosts. I am Colin.
I am Donovan.
And today we have got a special show coming up for you. We're going to play around with something new that we're going to explain here in a little bit. But before we dive into that, a little bit of what we're going to get into today. We've got four main segments coming up. We're going to have our standard pre-showy, pop culture, local politics stuff. We got some major movement in legislation regarding Second Amendment in our state.
Yep.
We'll cover that here in just a bit. Then we're going to take a little break. Then we're going to be talking about the State of the Union. And then we're going to come back after we're done with that. We're going to take a little break and come back and we'll talk about the Ukraine and Russia situation, a.k.a., dark times. And then we're going to take one last break before we come back and hit some grab bag stuff and hit some sports and get out of here.
Yes.
Yee. So, anyways, I feel like I am forgetting to mention something all of a sudden.
Nope. No, that's it. Before we move on, we're going to go over the structure of the show because we're going to do things, like you said, a little bit differently today. I do want to remind everyone to go ahead and like, comment, subscribe to what you have going on here. We are growing slowly. Thank you to everyone who is helping us, who is joining us. And make sure that you go to our Patreon also. We have patreon.com/saltofthestreets. Also, we have YouTube, obviously, where you're watching us now. Instagram.com/saltofthestreets. Facebook, Facebook.com/saltofthestreets. You can find all this on saltofthestreets.com, including our personal social media. I am at Salt of the Street on Twitter and at alpaca_Donovan on Instagram. And Colin is a Big Bird Offie on both of those things.
I could be Big Butt Offie if you want.
Big Butt Offie if we want him to be. We had the first review preview show drop on the 1st. That was for last month's book in the book club. It was In Order to Live by Yemeni Park. And this month's book is The Indifferent Stars Above by Daniel James Brown. So go there and check out the review preview. Get started. It's only a few days in when it's the 5th. So you have plenty of time if you want to get started on that book. It was fantastic. I finished it very quickly. I
love it. It's the 5th. You're like, yeah, I finished it real quick. It was really good.
I haven't finished it yet. I'm still reading it actively. I haven't finished it yet. I'm still reading.
I would say, if you're going to just like hammer one out real quick and then do it again before the month is over, I mean, you're just going to have that much more detail, bro.
Yeah, I may be reading 4 books at one time. I may have added a 4th book to the repertoire. It's pretty bad. It's gotten horrible.
Oh, my gosh. That's so funny.
We had the beer show that dropped last night. The Union, obviously, that was for Thaw Out. That Silver City beer behind us. So Colin asked that. We have the clips that are coming out every day. And, of course, we have the newsletter that comes out on the end of the month, very last day. So we had one that dropped on the 28th. Go there. It's an article written by me and also an article written by Colin. It's there. It's beautiful. My article this month was called If You Do Not Try, I Will Not Comply, which is very prevalent today. And what was the name of your article? I'm sorry.
The name
Colin's
article. It was called Colin's article.
No,
I pulled it up right here.
I was going to say I have it on my computer. It's no problem.
Yeah, it's somewhat. It's right on the tip of my tongue.
Something doesn't make sense.
Because it doesn't.
Because it's
talking about Ukraine and the Russian invasion and some weird situations going on in there. Stuff we will talk about in third segment today. We're going to be bringing up a lot about that. There's so many different angles to talk about there.
Yeah. So the segments that you were talking about, we are going to try a new structure for today's show. So traditionally,
you notice I went to go. Traditionally, we always introduce the topics real quick, and then we dive, and then it's like, wait a minute.
Right.
If I introduce the topics too much, I don't want to do anyway.
No.
So
no problem.
New stuff, fun stuff.
Yes. So traditionally, the way that we've done it is obviously we have a pre-show. We'll take a break. We'll start a new stream, and then we'll do the regular show. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do one. I called it a mega cast.
A
mega stream when I first laid it out for you. And instead, we're going to kind of compress the two, right? So it's not going to end up being twice as long or anything like that. I think it may end up being a little bit shorter. Than 2 episodes, And so the way we're going to do it is we're going to have segments, as you said, and we're not going to stop the stream in between segments. We're going to just kind of pause and have a little screen come up. We're going to take a 3-minute break. 3 minutes, right? We may come back quicker than that, but that is the most we will take is 3 minutes, and then we'll come back and we'll start the next segment, right? All one stream, all continuous. No one has to go anywhere. No one has to worry anything about it. We're going to have and we're going to try and get some different music and stuff for you in between there. We can probably eventually figure out playing different videos as the breaks, that will be nice. So
it would be nice.
Yeah, I'm sure that there's no problem doing that.
Maybe little promos and little clippies.
Exactly. Clippies, shooting footage, things like that.
And if that sounds good to you guys, let us know what you'd want to see in our little break times.
Yes. And also,
whatever we do, please don't say skits, because as much fun as that would be, you need to pay us to do those. Okay,
yes.
that would be great. I'd love to do that all day and show Crowder how it's done, but we need paid first.
Some of those are real bad. Some of the ones are real bad.
I don't want to get into it.
So make sure you go to the Patreon. If you want to see skits, go to the Patreon. Be a patron. Help us make more better content. That's how you get there. So
because I want to make them. I'm just saying, not until it's my job.
We have the creativity for it. So with that, the segments, as you said, this week we're going to start with our pre-showish type segment here. Next, we'll talk about the State of the Union. Third will be Russia and the Ukraine. And after that, we have a grab bag. We're going to talk about some child tax credit, right? Some of the like the policy in general.
Brought up during the State of the Union.
Yeah, exactly. The PRO Act and a Rubio bill that came up, and then also two bills that came out to stop stock trading within Congress. So we're going to be talking about those things. It's going to be fantastic.
I'm going to be really interested in at some point one day people comparing our views on stock trading and stuff today compared to God, I know we've talked about this stuff in the past, back before it was ever really in the mainstream of the conversation, like because Nancy Pelosi and all these politicians they've been becoming like multi-millionaires over six-figure salaries and things like that, and it hasn't changed. And I know we've talked about it like way back in the OG days, so I'd be really curious,
right,
for like an OG fan one day to go back and dive into that and start showing like a progress meter of you're just going to be like shooting far right every day, farther and
They're like, this got really bad, really
like
quick.
I don't understand.
Yeah,
but yeah, I'm really excited to talk about that just because I feel like it's been a long time since me and you really dived into that kind of stuff. It's real philosophical, so I'm excited to talk about that in the closeout, and then of course the end of that last segment will be sports.
Yes.
And we got a few action stuff coming on in the sports world.
Yep. A couple little things going on. So, yeah, we have I haven't watched into the Combine, but the Combine is happening. March Madness is coming up, things like that. So,
it'll be fun. Yeah, I'm stoked about it.
This will also give us the freedom, just so everyone knows, this will give us the freedom to have probably more guests. Because there are a lot of people who just aren't able to make, an entire show work. And so this will give us freedom to have more guests for one segment, people that come in and stream with us for one segment, and then they can leave and we can keep going. You know what I'm saying? So we'll have lots more things like that coming on. I think will be excellent. We will also hit the comments in the beginning of every new segment. So if there's any comments or any questions or anything like that, we will hit them in the beginning of every segment. It's going to be fantastic. I also wanted to remind you guys, before we start on this stuff here, Swab Blended in a few weeks if you need a haircut. Location Skate Shop if you need to skateboard. Lexi Kyle on Twitch if you want to watch some gaming. And then, of course, Leggings and Aprons on Instagram, only for the next few weeks because she's getting pretty pregnant. So
yeah,
we're closing in on the last days to order. So
dude, it was not that long ago where she was like not pregnant at all.
Right.
I feel like it was like last episode and not pregnant at all. And then last weekend we all got together and it's like, damn, you ready to pop, girl.
Yes.
It's that perfectly rounded beach ball ready to just.
Yeah, and she's still got 3 months left, so there's still lots of time. Yeah.
And then it's just going to be.
Well,
right? That's how that works.
That's what we're hoping. Yeah. We're talking this morning. The baby sits so low, and she's already got her head down and everything. So I told Jordan, I was like, hopefully you'll be able to just kind of squat and cough, and she'll just fall right out of there, and it'll be okay. Like, hopefully that's all that it'll take.
Did that come from that book that you're reading now? Did the term squat and cough come from that?
I don't know. I think that's more of a prison thing, but.
Oh, so yeah, it's gonna be a good show, obviously.
Yeah. Let's start with a shot.
We need a shot here. Cheers, buddy.
Thank you everyone for joining us. To liberty.
To liberty. And my outfit today is not by accident. I'm purposely wearing Rebels.
It's nice
because of all the anti-empire talk that I anticipate today.
Yeah. So you know what?
Because I feel everywhere when we talk about our State of the Union, I feel like I'm talking about the empire.
The State of the Union, our own state.
The state of our true union.
Yeah, here's hoping, Jordan says.
Here's hoping.
Sorry, Chloe.
Coughing.
Yeah, squat cop.
Squat
so let's just start here. Let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
Right? This is how we started most shows here. Let me ask you this, Colin. We pride ourselves on being an objective show and objective people, right? And that's how we build the show. That's how we live our lives. If we're an objective show, why do we focus or talk so much about the left?
Well, if we're an objective show,
yes,
that would, to me, anyways, it would be because obviously we feel more threatened by the ideas being spouted by the left.
Yeah.
If we were threatened by the ideas being spouted by the right, which we are, just not as often, obviously, then we'd be talking about them.
Right.
I mean, I'm going to be talking all sorts of shit today on the right-wing people and the neocons and that old school conservative stuff today, especially when we're talking about Ukraine and Russia. But for the most part, I hesitate to use the term the threat, but in a ideological kind of, sense, that threat is coming from the left.
Right.
The left is attacking my liberties and my rights. Right now, the right's not doing that. They're mostly just shutting up, and some of them are kind of supporting them. So that's why we talk so much shit on the left.
I like it
right now.
I like it. And I would also point out to anybody who says that, that
Slam dunk.
Yes. No, that's an excellent answer. I'd also point out, from the time that we started the show until Trump got out of office, we shat on Donald Trump for that entire time. Not that there were not things that we did not support, because certainly there were, but we talked. There is a quote even from me. I couldn't tell you what episode it is, but I know that it exists because Kyle brought it up to me once, where we were doing the show, and I said, "God, I hope a Democrat wins next time so we can shit on him too."
Oh yeah,
And I said that, and the very next week I was at work, and Kyle said, "You said this," and I thought it was so funny, and that's the only reason I know for sure I said that. So
that's great.
Yes, and I also wrote down. I'll read exactly what I wrote here. I would argue the left's embrace of Marxism/socialism is more of a concern than the fringe right. Marxism is actively growing at a faster rate, in my opinion, and is tougher to defeat than far-right extremism.
Yeah, and I would add on to that to also indicate and think when you really listen to the minds that talk about this stuff like James Lindsay and Peter Boghossian and the deep academic intellectuals will teach you that what we see on the surface as being a threat and the things that we're talking about now in like the ideological battlefield, if you will, is only literally the tip of the iceberg. Right. There's an entire subculture and substructure. I mean, where do you think the humanity's career path came from? Right. It was when people like me were looking at going to college and their parents or their, whatever it was talking about, like, why would you want to go get a degree in underwater basket weaving or whatever it is? You get some bullshit humanities degree, and there's no jobs out there for you except, oh wait, you get enough of them, they're going to create a market for it.
Right.
This didn't exist 20 years ago, but all the foundation was laid to the point where we have institutions now that are built by this, and we're just now, it's that the ocean volcano has finally peaked above the surface, but you have an entire foundation to fight against for probably the next few decades.
Right. James Lindsay has an entire podcast, New Discourses, that he reads and breaks down different Marxist papers, socialist papers, all those things. He reads through them, breaks them down so that they're easier to understand. It's a fantastic podcast for anybody, especially parents. Because
what's it called again?
It's called New Discourses.
New Discourse.
And especially for parents, because he focuses so much on schools and children, that I would recommend that to anybody. The episodes are about an hour and a half, pretty standard podcast length episodes, and yeah, they're I mean, he doesn't even do videos like he does YouTube shows, but it's just a picture and then his podcast. So, but yeah, I would recommend that to anybody who is starting to see the threat, feel the threat, doesn't really understand exactly what's happening, but knows that they're uncomfortable with what's happening.
Yeah.
New Discourses is a great place for you to go. There's a lot of very introductory things. What is critical race theory? What are these things? Breaking them down by the actual people who wrote the papers, who made the arguments. He's breaking down their arguments to explain to you exactly what they're saying.
Yeah, it's funny. He was on the IRL podcast
just last night.
Friday.
Yeah, and I did not get to watch it.
Oh, it's pretty damn good.
I am in love with James Lindsay.
And it will, it wasn't too contemporary, which is nice. So it'll still serve you good on Monday when you have time at work or whatever. It's a great one. But the dude is just he's a living encyclopedia against critical theory.
Yes.
And I mean, this is the guy I think we talked about at the time, but him and his partners, Peter Boghossian and Helen Pluckrose.
Yes.
Helen Pluckrose wrote these series of papers back in, I don't know, when was it? It was years ago at this point, when the critical theory was really starting to be flooded out there.
I think it was around then.
And it was like they wrote these bullshit papers, totally made up all the things and just made it all fancy, used the right language. I think they did one where they converted Hitler's manifesto into like its own version of like a leftist propaganda thing.
Right.
And they submitted them through the academies. They were fucking peer reviewed and they got approved. And they were like, oh, hey, by the way, this is a hoax.
Yeah.
We caught you.
One of the papers was about how the penis is a social construct. And another one was...
The dog park one killed me.
Yeah, and that's what I was just going to say.
one.
The dog park one was about rape culture.
I've got to see if I can find the title.
Dog parks carried out by people where they said that they went and inspected the genitals of, like, I don't know, a ridiculous amount of dogs, like 100,000 dogs or something like that, and went to all these different parks and interrogated the owners, and it was...
Dude, it was so great.
Absolutely bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. And it was accepted into an actual journal for critical theory, you know? And so all of this was done in an effort, like you said, to point out how ridiculous these fields are, that they aren't, the purveyors of these fields and of these ideologies are not even able to decipher what is bullshit and what is real. And that's how ridiculous those
it was Mein
fields
Kampf that they did that.
Yes,
Mein Kampf. And they turned it into they just changed it to feminist language.
Yes.
Man, but I can't find the name of the papers right now.
I had them written down somewhere.
They're so long and complicated, but they're all about these like various grievance studies.
Yes.
And if you Google search grievance studies hoax, then you'll come across some of these things. But yeah, it was at some point throughout
we'll find
the episode. Yeah, I'm going to find it because they're too good, man. They're too good.
We'll find it. The second part that I want to ask you about, let me ask you this, right? Feeds to your question. So now let me ask you this, right? With the insane, with the insane tensions, right? Is the conservative war hawkery, no-fly zones, things like that, a more immediate threat, right? And I think that you answered that it is. You're going to be talking a lot about that today.
Yeah.
You know, that we are not afraid, and the whole point of the podcast is to talk about what is threatening your liberty, right? And we discussed that last week in general terms more about Joe Biden, because at the time the administration seemed like they were really pushing for war, you know? And now that it's going on, now that war is happening, we're seeing people from both sides of the aisle arguing for it for different reasons.
Yeah.
But some of the more bold actions that we're going to get into later, like you said, are coming from a lot of the conservatives, Republicans that are talking about no-fly zones, things like that, things that need to be enforced by American military that would unquestionably enter us into a direct war with Russia.
Yep.
So we're going to be getting into a lot of those things later.
My commentary magazine boys are having a real hard time right now because, you know, I mean, they're old neocons except for like Noah and like Abe has got a good head on his shoulders too, but, you know, good old John Podhorns is like, let's do it, bro. Let's do this. But oh wait, we can't do this because World War III, blah blah. But it's really interesting, and we will discuss it again later. But the like the 180 change coming from a lot of these people that were like, you know, within I don't know when was Afghanistan, February-ish last
January.
It was in January.
No. The withdrawal was in August.
Thank you. Not that long ago, people were giving him a bunch of shit for that, all this stuff, the concept of even pulling out. And now they're like, oh, yeah, let's start another one. Let's do it. So it'll be really interesting to talk about there. But and some of the anti-war voices are kind of surprising, too. But that's really what this is coming down to. It's like who's okay with who thinks it's okay to have war right now and who is like, no, this is a really bad idea. I don't care how we do this, but this cannot happen.
Right.
Because I was having a conversation with Carolina yesterday about this. Nobody that is alive today, except for a very few older people, have any concept of the devastation and the bloodshed that a world war could mean.
Right.
Because as bad and bloody and terrible as Vietnam was, and I think we all know how passionately you see that travesty of Vietnam, and we've talked about it before, a world war in 2022 is going to make that look like fucking playtime.
Way beyond that.
And nobody in our generation can even comprehend. And war is just a thing that we do over in the Middle East that we don't ever have to worry about.
Right.
This is real shit. But
we'll get into that later. Yep. We keep saying that.
Indeed. Yeah. I got to veer away.
He's excited.
I want to talk to you real quick about some pop culture then.
Yes.
Have you, just off the top of your head, have you watched any major movies or anything over the last couple of weeks?
Yes. So I watched several, and I made sure that I made a list of them, right? I watched Watchmen twice because I watched it one by myself, and then you watched it the next day, and then I told Jordan
we did not plan that.
No, just happened that way. And then I told Jordan that I watched it, so she wanted to watch it. She loves Watchmen. So we watched that again. I watched a movie called The Darkest Hour.
Ooh. Yes. The Churchill movie.
Yes,
exactly.
Exactly.
Is that the Gary Oldman one, or is that the other one?
Whoever plays
Darkest Hour. I think
whoever plays Commissioner Gordon.
That's
in the Dark Knight series.
Yeah,
that's who plays Churchill in this.
That's God,
but I couldn't tell you what his name is.
I'm blanking on it.
You just showed him to me last week.
Yeah.
In whatever movie you were talking about. In
Gary Oldman.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
Yep. Yeah, he's amazing.
It was incredible. That was a very good movie. It took me a minute to get into it, but once I was watching, I was like, okay, I'm here for it. I don't know.
Because there's two of them. There's Darkest Hour in 2017, and then there was. No, wait, no.
There's one that just came out within the last year or two, right?
Yeah, and that's a different Darkest Hour.
Yeah.
But there's two Churchill movies, and I'm trying to remember, they have different actors.
Yeah.
And they're both great movies, I will say that, obviously. But I remember the other one. I don't remember the actor. I want to say he's from Frasier or some shit. I'll find it eventually. But I actually like that version better than Darkest Hour. Even though I think when you stack them up, that'd be a fun one to watch both of them and then just try to see which one can get, because it's by a hair.
Right.
One of them wins by a hair, and I'd be curious which one. But that's a great movie, man.
And I don't know
great movie
that much about World War II. I obviously have the general idea, probably a deeper idea than most, but still not that much, especially not from a British perspective, from a UK perspective. So it was interesting just to get more information on that, even if it was just surface level drama stuff. Been reading the Lemony Snicket series, right? So I watched that movie with Jim Carrey in it after we talked about it last week, because you and Carolina are on your Jim Carrey kick.
Yeah. Me, myself, and I read.
That movie's terrible. Not me, myself, and I read. The Lemony Snicket movie is fucking terrible. I knew that it was when I watched it, but I watched it again just because I was at work and looking for something non-political, and I was like, this movie is fucking trash. Jim Carrey is great because he is a crazy person. So
he is. A great crazy person.
Yes.
And the right kind of crazy.
As I'm watching it and as I'm reading the books, I think I'm realizing that the movie, for it to be good, would have to be serious. But the book is not totally serious. The books have comedy in them, and he writes it's narrated with comedy, so it's supposed to be funny, and that's why it was a good Nickelodeon property, because Nickelodeon made that movie, so that's why it was good for them to make it. But you can't take this book and convert it into a movie for it to be good, because the type of humor that's there is not going to translate into a movie. It's just not. Yeah, it's just not.
How many fantasy series were made of books and stuff before Game of Thrones finally nailed it? It's not easy to do that kind of super fantastical stuff.
Lenny's
here.
Lenny's here.
Lenny?
Thank you for joining us, Lenny. Got a couple of new structure today, some segments and stuff going. It's going to be beautiful.
I'm going to have to think about this Churchill movie thing, because I'm seeing The Gathering Storm is another one.
Okay.
But that's not the one I'm thinking of. And I don't think the one I'm going to have to do some research on this one.
Yeah, the Churchill movie
bothered me. I've seen a gang of them. I watched them all during COVID. I watched a bunch of Churchill movies, and they were all fucking great. I think there's 3, but
yeah.
But anyways,
for Carolina, the Churchill movie is The Darkest Hour. The one that I'm talking about with Jim Carrey is Lemony Snicket. It's the series of unfortunate events movie. Yes. And that was on Hulu when I watched it. That one's still there. Netflix did a series where NPH, Neil Patrick Harris, is Count Olaf, is the Jim Carrey character. So I'm going to try that again and see how that is. I don't remember that being that good. I've watched part of it because I looked at it on Netflix, and some of the episodes are watched. So I know that I've watched it, but I don't remember it being that good, or else it would be more memorable in my mind. I also watched a movie called... It's about Vincent van Gogh, where Willem Dafoe plays Vincent Van Gogh.
Yes.
It's a fucking incredible movie. Absolutely incredible.
I have not seen that, but I have heard epic things about it. That's funny. The Ghetto Boys are like, "Hey, what time is the podcast?" Right now, buddy.
Right.
It's right now.
Now.
It's hard to communicate with people when they don't have any social media, right?
Yes.
It's super weird to say that, but it's real. Maybe the one I am thinking. It's got Albert Finney. He's a British dude. These are all like super British actors. I'm telling you, I'm thinking the wrong Churchill.
We'll
Either
figure
way,
it out.
all
That's
of them
okay.
are good.
Yeah. No, I know it's so easy to get, especially something like that, so easy to get like stuck on it.
Moving
in
on.
the middle of the, yeah. So
I'm closing IMDb.
the Willem Dafoe movie, incredible, right?
Okay.
I don't know fucking shit about Vincent Van Gogh.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about Vincent Van Gogh.
Like, Willem Dafoe could do whatever he wants.
He's so good.
Yes.
He's so good. And you know me as far as art goes. You know, I'm just not an emotional
not a whole lot of
intaker.
symbolism to be had there.
But
Symbolism.
I did pick up on some things that I was kind of proud of myself on,
Ooh.
right? A lot of the paintings and shit like that Vincent Van Gogh did have a lot of like yellow hues, and like that's a lot of things. He stayed in a yellow house when he did this whole series, for like a year, when he did, you know, all these paintings and shit, and in a bunch of parts of the movie, when you're seeing things from his perspective, there's like a yellow haze over everything, you know? And I think it was just to like instill, like, this is how he's seeing the world. All these yellow hues in his paintings, like that was his view of the world. And so much of what he was talking about is like, I'm just trying to show people how I see the world, and it's so different. And he's fucking crazy. He's a crazy person, you know? I have an absolute crazy person.
It was the cut off the ear guy, right?
Yeah. So he was in, according to the movie, he was staying with another artist that he was like friends with, and it kind of seemed like almost like he was like in love with him a little bit. He is a crazy person, so he may have been, but who knows, right? And then that artist wanted to leave. Galgan, I think his name was. He wanted to leave. He had to go somewhere else. He was starting to become more famous, so they had this disagreement, and he cuts Zir off and to try and give it to his friend, and he can't find his friend. The reading that I did said that his friend ran away from him. This just says that he can't find his friend, and so Vincent Van Gogh gives his ear to a woman who works at a bar who knew his friend also and was like, give this to my homeboy. And then he got arrested because he gave a woman his ear.
That's weird.
She was obviously disturbed by it. So he spent some time in a mental institution, and then eventually was allowed to leave and lived with his brother for a while. And
we need those people, man. We need those crazy artists because they give us cool shit.
The reading that I did said that he shot himself. The movie that I watched showed that he was like almost like instructing two younger boys, and one of them shot him, and then they like buried a bunch of his stuff, and said that he never mentioned it, but the boys found out about it somehow. There was like a book that he got from someone, an empty book that he filled with drawings over this time that he gave back to the woman, and she didn't know that he had drawn in it, and it stayed in her house for like over 100 years, and her family found it.
Whoa.
I think in like 2016 it said. They found a book of like 70 or so drawings that Vincent Van Gogh did of just nature and like shit in the countryside of France. I learned a lot of shit.
Honey, we're rich. We're
Yes,
rich.
yeah.
Guess what I found in the basement?
Yeah, so I'm trying to read more about Vincent Van Gogh is what I decided. So if anyone knows any good books on Van Gogh, drop them in the comments here, because that'll be my next one. The 4 books. The 4 books I'm reading. The baby book.
Yep.
The Reptile Room is the one I'm on right now. That's Lemony Snicket book. Daniel James Brown. And this one I cracked into today.
Oh, the old U.S. Constitution.
It was the Constitution
And other
like
writings.
a plethora of other writings. Yeah.
Because mine is only about that thick, though. The ones
Yeah.
behind you there.
No, this one has the Mayflower Compact, the Silence Dogood letters, an edict by the King of Prussia, give me liberty, give me death, Declaration of Independence, Articles of Confederation, the Treaty of Paris, Virginia Plan, Northwest Ordinance, Constitution, Federalist Papers, George Washington's first inaugural address, Bill of Rights, Thomas Jefferson's first inaugural address.
That's like all the big
stuff.
ones. All the big stuff in there.
All of the things. There you go.
That's healthy.
Yes. So I'm going to be reading through this.
Well, you'll fire that in a couple days. Not a
Closing
big deal.
line comes out of here. This one will take me longer, I think, because the language is different. I'll have to read a lot of
not
the
as
shit
narrative.
more than once, exactly, to like, what are you saying? You know, even just I read started with the Declaration of Independence today, and even that, you have to. You got to read some of it a couple of times to be like, what the fuck are you actually saying here? You know,
Exactly, because the language is different.
Yeah, the Declaration of Independence, though, I appreciated. A huge portion of it is just a list. It's just a list of like, these are the things that you are doing that are fucked up.
Yeah,
and,
this is what we're pissed off about, bro.
And it seems like our duty to tell you what you're doing wrong before we completely secede from you.
There you go.
Yeah, it even says in there like it's would be improper or imprudent. It would be imprudent to not list for you the things that you're doing, before we just peace out. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I mean, even in the standard divorce, you got to have a reason. You can't just be like, yeah, we're out.
Exactly.
Right? It's a whole thing.
Exactly.
But I too, we talked about last time. I've been reading a book.
High Rise.
J.G. Ballard.
High
Rise. It's fucking dark and gritty.
The song.
Really
Vincent.
good.
Oh, my God. Yes. Thank you very much. Lonesome Lenny. I'm here for it. Don McLean. I'm writing it down right now.
Oh, look at that. Shout out, Lenny. Always coming through with the heaters.
Lenny, if you're looking for a new book, we got the book club going. Remember, book club, this month's book is The Indifferent Stars Above by Daniel James Brown. It's about the Donner Party. It's very good, Lenny. Very good.
And I can't get over, next episode, you got to come out with another, or actually, we get a book club this Thursday, don't we? Coming out?
Yes. Good. This Thursday is the first live stream for this book.
Okay. Because just the prose is so good in that movie. Every sentence and paragraph is perfectly designed to just hit you right where it needs to hit you.
Yeah.
And that's only the few you've read to me.
And I did a good amount of dog-earing in this one along the way, so there's a lot of contextual things that because he does a very good job. Daniel James Brown did a very good job of breaking down this was the hygiene of the time, just things that were important to give context to everything. So
nobody understands that shit.
Yeah, no, it's very good. So I have a lot of those things and also just some prose things. I read. I'm like, this is fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Dog ear that one. I'm gonna make sure to keep that. So
nice.
Yes. The song, Vincent. What have you watched this week? What was the last Jim Carrey movie that you guys watched?
Me, Myself, and Irene.
Oh, right.
That was it. Yeah, we didn't. We were going to
one.
do it on Wednesday again, but, sometimes life gets in the way of date night.
Yes.
But we ended up having a nice steak dinner and a lot of good conversations and stuff like that, but ended up not watching a movie, although I did purchase Bruce Almighty for the occasion.
Jake B. He's out here.
Jake B. My copy just came in the mail.
Love it.
Oh, buddy. You're about to get it. But we watched that, which again, we talked a little bit about it last when we were hanging out, but it's the movie's from 2000. And
really?
It was a lot older than I thought. Actually, I kind of thought it was mid-90s. Maybe it was a little newer than I thought, but I didn't expect 2000s. And then I noticed a lot of the humor in it. You ain't doing that right now.
No.
You ain't gonna make that movie again.
No.
And I also had forgotten how gorgeous Renee Zellweger was back in that time. Just absolutely gorgeous. You could tell though, the old 90s dress styles and stuff were coming out, and it's come on, we need to hurry up and get to the future. The 90s were a bad time for apparel, but yeah, the comedy in that movie is fucking great, man. He's got his 3 kids. They are. And it's not okay. I'm not okay with it. We moved past the 90s for a reason, people.
I just talked to Jordan about that this week.
I don't want neon bullshit again, okay? We're not playing this game.
It's not even that. When we were in Gig Harbor, we tried to find those quail eggs, and we were in whatever supermarket that was.
Right,
and the baggy clothing is a big thing that's coming back, especially for girls.
Janko jeans back in the day?
Yeah. And I just told Jordan, I was I'm just not a fan of it. I appreciate that when I was in high school, girls are wearing yoga pants and tank tops. That's what girls are wearing when I was in high school, and I'm fucking here for it. Now they're wearing sweatshirts that are too big for even their boyfriend to wear. They're wearing jeans that are too big for their boyfriend to wear. This is it's too much. Not here for it.
I blame Kim Kardashian myself. I don't exactly know why, but I'm pretty sure most of this is her fault. Gotta blame somebody.
Oh, God.
Okay. But
sorry, Me, Myself, and Irene.
We watched that. It's a great movie. The 3 kids in that movie are the best part about that movie, to be honest.
Yes.
His 3 sons. It's
genius
so
boys.
Great. Yeah. But, for those of you who haven't watched, Jim Carrey's got a split personality. It's kind of like his dark side and his good side. He represses all of the anger, and then eventually that comes out. But it's a great ride. It's a great run. It still holds up to today. You definitely get a little guilty sometimes on some of the cheap laughs you get, especially when you throw it in the 2022 context.
Jim Carrey's good for that, though.
He is, and because he'll just steamroll right through it.
Yes.
But we did that, and then I don't know when we watched this, if it was before last show or not. Stop me if I talked about this before, but Raised by Wolves on HBO Max. The show that I know Ridley Scott had a hand in. He directed the first 2 episodes. It's a sci-fi show about colonization of humans, and there's a big war between the atheists and the religious people, and there's most of humanity's dead now, and basically the only people that are alive are showing up to this new planet on these ark ships. But the atheists sent these 2 androids there to like raise this first group of children and get settled, and then all of a sudden the dude, Travis Fimmel, I think, the guy from Vikings, Ragnar from Vikings.
Okay.
He's like the main dude that comes down, and conflict between the atheists and the religious people, and it's a fucking great show, man. Lots of like deep human conflict ideas of like right and wrong, and you know, religion versus zealotry, and just passion versus logic, and it's a very, very great series if you're into any of that stuff.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it's real Ridley Scotty. We'll put it that way.
You said?
Raised by Wolves, HBO Max. Season 2 just came out. So we're there.
Heavy
that
HBO.
And we were watching season 4 of The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel was out.
Okay.
And
okay.
I will say, if you haven't seen that, it's
not.
on Amazon Prime. It is phenomenal. It's about a female comedian. It starts in the late 50s, and we're up to the 60s now in this season. But it's like the Lenny Bruce era in comedy, and people getting locked up for, you know, indecent, you know, language and stuff back in the day. And she's just this hilarious Jewish comedian in New York, and it just follows her antics on stand-up comedy. But third season kind of lost me.
Yeah.
And then I gave season 4 a shot when Carolina was like saying I had to. And then I didn't regret it, because season 4, it's like they got their old fire back. So if you're into Marvelous Mrs. Maisel at all, or like a good comedy, it's right there, man. All the episodes, first 2 seasons are solid. Third's weird, but then 4th is back to the gold.
Excellent.
But that's where I'm at. That's what I've been doing. Reading. Not as fast as you, but I'm getting there.
Okay.
And then after this, there's a movie called High Rise based off the book.
Right.
Starring the dude that plays Loki. And so I'm excited about that. But I'm not going to touch that movie until I'm done with the book.
The guy's name is Tom, right? Tom something?
Tom something. Let me look it up. Yeah.
Tom something.
Tom
Pretty
something.
Sure.
But new Batman's supposed to come out too, by the way.
Let us know in the comments what your guys' favorite Jim Carrey movie is, right?
Yeah.
Liar, Liar, that's gold.
That's a great movie.
Liar, Liar is a good one.
God, besides Liar, Liar, what would you say is one of your favorite Jim Carreys?
Oh, fuck.
First one comes to mind.
Dumb and Dumber, probably.
That's a classic.
Dumb and Dumber is good.
It's really good.
Like, real good.
Real good. It's, and none of the other ones, but the first one's solid.
Yeah, definitely. And then what's that guy's name? What's his counterpart's name? Jeff something, right?
Yeah, Jeff something. I don't remember.
I always say Jeff Bridges, and that's not.
It's not Jeff Bridges.
No, but I always say that. But I know that's not it.
No, Dumb and Dumber. Yeah, because he did a bunch of movies with him back in the day. 1994, Dumb and Dumber.
That's the year.
Jeff Daniels.
Jeff Daniels. That's what it
Jeff
is.
Daniels. That's great.
I also watched Steve Jobs with not Aaron Sorkin. What's his name? The same guy that was in Prometheus.
Michael
Fassbender.
Fassbender.
Fassbender plays
I always
Steve
get
Jobs.
Fassbender and the other guy mixed up. The two British guys that are really handsome.
Yeah.
It's not cool. He's in The Island too, with ScarJo. That's not
Jeff Daniels.
That is Jeff Daniels.
Lenny's
Shout out
there.
Lenny. Lenny always is there for us.
Dude, Lenny was there.
Yeah, Lenny was there.
He was there. So I watched the Steve Jobs movie. Jeff Daniels is in that Steve Jobs movie too. He plays Mark Marcola.
I pulled it up right beforehand on Hulu.
Yes.
New series about that Theranos Elizabeth Holmes.
Yes.
And it's got that girl from Ted 2 that looks like Gollum sometimes.
Okay.
Amanda.
Oh, okay. Like
something or other.
Like
it's
a
a
biopic
show.
series.
Yeah.
Like
and she plays Elizabeth Holmes.
Word.
And it goes through the whole Theranos thing. It's out now. New episodes, I think, are Thursdays. There's only like 7 out right now.
She just got hemmed up, right? Elizabeth Holmes just got hemmed up.
Oh, yeah. Her whole life right now is going
I knew her
going
job
down
was
hard.
going on and shit.
Yeah. She's in a bad spot.
Yeah. Do have to mention also, Nils put out a new video this week. PNW Nils put out a new video with Dr. Sly. And then just yesterday, Denzel dropped a new song. Denzel 2 put out a new song yesterday. So I believe it's called Slide.
I think it was.
Yep. So make sure you guys check those out. YouTube, Spotify, everywhere they have music. Upper left, Denzel 2 a.m., PNW Nils. On YouTube, look for Dr. Sly as well. He's working with a couple of different artists. Instagram is where he's doing a lot of his stuff. I don't remember what here. I have my Instagram up right now. I will. Out of 14 Media. That is what Dr. Sly's media company has switched over to. Is
Out of 14?
Yep. OUTTA 14 Media. The number 14.
Outa.
So, yep. Out of 14 Media. And this is the PNW Nils video promotional trailer. Oh, nope. That's James on board. My bad. There's Nils right there. What You Think. That's what it is. What You
What You
Think. It's the
Think.
video they just put out, directed by Dr. Sly. Make sure you guys go check those out. Do you want to talk about some local stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do a 2A update first, and then we will talk about the press conference that happened.
Oh God, I almost forgot about the press
Yeah,
conference.
let's actually do the press conference first because that will be quicker, right?
Okay.
So on the 28th, last day of the month, Jay Inslee, usually almost always on Thursdays, right? Almost always on a Thursday, he does.
It's weird.
It's very weird. He does these press conferences.
Much like his 3-day weekends.
So he had a press conference. Jay Inslee is the governor of Washington State. For anybody who's not here, sleeper comedy called "Blow the Man Down" is well worth watching. Excellent.
Googling now.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Lenny. We are out here. Okay, so Jay Inslee, governor of Washington State. You guys know how we feel about Jay Inslee.
He's a bad human being.
Yeah, we're not his biggest fan. So we talked about the last time we were here that our mask mandate was going to end on the 21st of March. Jay Inslee had another press conference to say that we were going to roll it back to the 12th. So on the 12th will be the day that we get our rights back. What is it?
We get some of our rights back.
Yeah, some of our rights back.
It's a week early.
Yes.
Which we're all super jazzed about, but I'm so glad the science is going to change.
The science has told us now that it will be okay on the 12th, even though last week, 2 weeks ago, the science told us that it needed to be the 21st. But I feel like it's almost
comic.
the people on the left are like, oh, these conservatives are, oh, the science changes. But that's what you're saying. Like, that's a dumb thing for you to say. And it's not that the essence of what you're saying is not true, that our understanding of what is accurate scientifically does change over time. But for you to be saying you need to follow the science, just this narrative of the science, like it's like the big lie, you know? It's
you coined this, okay?
Yeah.
You coined the ridiculous concept of the science. And now you're really upset now because nobody's deciding that it's important because we all understand how ridiculous it was from the concept.
Yeah,
Not that I'm passionate
the narrative
about this at all.
idea of the science is not
Stupid.
It's not good. It doesn't help anybody.
Stupid.
So this is a quote from Jay Inslee. We're going to move forward as a state. Working as counties has not helped us. And if we remember, right, in the beginning, we were working as counties, and then we were working as sectors that were like districts of how the healthcare systems were organized, and then we were in districts for a very short period of time.
Yeah, we Hunger Games for a minute.
We were on the edge of having to volunteer as tribute. Like
Yes.
we were right there.
It was close.
So the districts happened, and then we went back to counties, and now we need to move as a state.
Yes.
So again, with no explanation, it's just, oh, we've been looking at it the wrong way this whole time, even though that was the right way at the time. There's no explanation of why it isn't the right way anymore. Just this is how we need to do it, right? Again, I don't disagree with what you're saying, but the complete inability or unwillingness to explain anything that you're doing just because, well, I just know, I know better. The science is telling me, and I'm the one that is dictating the science to you. So trust me, does not give anybody any reason to trust you. It gives them a complete opposite of that. I have every reason to not trust you because you look like you're fucking lying and you're just changing whatever you want to say with whatever is most convenient.
Yeah, because what was it? What essentially was to blame for the change in the policy at this point? I believe there was reference to.
They're going off of hospitalizations per 1,000.
Yes.
That's what their number was. And their model was saying by the 21st, that's when we were going to be at 5. Something
modeling and projections.
Yes, and something in between. And then when they asked, right, because someone asked specifically, I tested positive for COVID February 23rd and February 28th tested negative. Only had mild symptoms. We're out here.
Damn.
I'm happy to hear it, Lenny, because the first time we heard from you, we were very concerned. We're very concerned that might happen to you. You have a lot of complications. I'm very happy to hear, Lenny,
Indeed.
that you are just fine.
And by having that too, like you've got the top tier at this point, man.
Good to go.
You're
Plus, you
top
said
tier.
you were vaccinated, so that's literally all those things. You have the best protection you could possibly ask for at this point in time from coronavirus.
A fully loaded magazine of antibiotic. That was a stretch, bro.
Out here though. No, out here. So
Lenny gets me excited. That's all I'm saying.
let's see. Then he said, this is another quote. We are empowering families and individuals to make the right decision instead of mandates.
Make the right decision, bro.
We're empowering you to make the right decision, even though, again, not even 2 weeks ago, we couldn't empower you. Sorry, 3 weeks ago, because we did an episode 2 weeks ago. We couldn't empower you to make the right decision. We needed to tell you what was done. Only now that you've almost definitely had coronavirus, like many people have, only now that 70% of people are vaccinated, only now that all these things have happened that have worked in our favor and have done what we have asked to do, now we can trust you to make the right decision from yourself. When this first happened and we didn't know what was happening and you didn't know what was happening, we couldn't trust you to make the right decision for yourself because you couldn't figure it out. And
couldn't figure it out.
Same reason that Pfizer needs to withhold some of their data, or what was it, the FDA withheld some of the data because they were afraid it will cause misunderstanding. People won't understand the data that's being presented. So we left out this portion of the data because we don't want anybody to misunderstand what we're saying. We're not even going to give you the information because you won't even get it. Mm-hmm. So just trust us when we tell you that this is what's happening.
Bro, all you got to do is just listen. They tell you what to do. All you got to do is listen. I don't see what's so hard about that.
Try out.
Yeah, you don't even have to figure. I can't even remember how bad that was.
He did made sure that we're going to continue to protect the right to do so regarding wearing a mask. Right, we need to continue to protect the right. God forbid an employer demand that they're, for whatever reason, because again, like I said last time, I cannot imagine a world in which an employer tells their employee, you are not allowed to wear a mask when you are here. Mm-hmm. That seems crazy. I can't imagine a reason why an employer would say that.
OSHA would be up your ass like nobody's business, bro. L&I would be up your ass. You can't do that. Exactly.
Yes.
It's an insane fantasy that is, it's a straw man. There you go. It's a straw man argument. Doesn't actually exist.
Straw man argument to justify.
Unless, of course, you're Ron DeSantis because,
It's to justify the retention of the emergency powers. And he doubled down on that again, he has to keep his emergency powers because we need to make sure that we have access to federal funds, even though we're running a state surplus. The last time I checked, we were flush with cash. We had money in the overflow fund to spend on shit.
We were giving people millions of dollars for getting a jab.
But we still need to maintain federal fund access, right? Mm-hmm. We need to maintain the ability to protect people's rights to wear a mask, and then
I have a clip.
Oh, let's hear it.
I have a clip.
Let's see the clip.
Because this is the one I was thinking of at the time, but no, it was about his emergency powers talk.
Yep.
So let's see. Magic button.
They don't believe the numbers that you're using are really up to date. They believe that the metrics are already in place, that there's enough room now to reopen and have everything happen today, and they don't believe you need to continue the emergency powers. Why not end that emergency today? Let them join you in all these decisions, and if you need another emergency, just call it.
Well, I don't know what you're referring to, Keith, so if they want to sit down with me and look at the numbers, I'm hopeful. I'm very willing to talk with them. They're open, they're available. The numbers are the numbers. There's no question about this. They've always wanted to follow Donald Trump. That's the central problem here, who first said this was going to be over by Easter. Then he told us you can take horse deworming products, and has always diminished our ability, and who refused to help the state of Washington when I asked him to help. And the Republicans in this state have followed him and continue to follow him, and continue to refuse to stand up to his coup attempt. So, with all due respect, I will be happy to talk to them about the numbers. But we need this emergency order for the three reasons that I just articulated. We need it to protect hospitals so that people don't get sick from this still deadly disease by requiring masks in hospitals. We need it to protect employees, and apparently the Republicans don't care about employees who want to wear their masks. I do. Because a lot of people in this state are still going to want to protect themselves by wearing a mask.
It's true. That is true. I can guarantee there will be a shitload of people, a metric buttload of people still wearing masks after the mandate ends on the 11th, the evening of the 11th. I guarantee there will still be.
And that's totally cool. I don't care, bro. Right. You should keep supporting them. I don't care. As long as I don't have to.
Yes.
Then I'm good, right? But yeah, that was
our state Republicans.
It's Donald Trump, and what was the other reason he gave? It was like Donald Trump, COVID's still killing people. We need it because I need the funds. This is our fearless leadership of Washington State here.
He also said at one point, let's see if I can.
Bitter and angry too, I might add.
We've ended 95% of the controversial of the controversial orders, right? And so it's clear the Republicans are not for workers, but he is. He said that in a clip there. But yeah, this is the quote. We have ended 95% of the controversial orders. So it's fine. We don't, because all the things you're complaining about, this is what he's saying, all the things you're complaining about, they're not even affecting your life anymore. So if we keep the emergency powers, what does it really affect you? Because 95% of the things are already done with. So even if they stay around forever, what does it matter? The legislature is still working because I can request that they come back at any time because I have the emergency power. So if we really need something, I can demand that they come back and do it. Isn't it better if I can control when and the legislature does and does not work? Isn't that better? Because I can demand that they do it, right?
Yeah.
All these controversial things.
Sounds monarchical.
It's not even there. It's better because I can access the emergency fund. So we should just keep it.
Yeah.
Why do we need to end it? Right? Why? If all these things are over, why do we need to end it? Because you're a fucking fascist, and this is a democracy. It's a democratic republic. This is not a monarchy. You do not rule the entire state as the executive. He has ineffective control of the legislature right now, and no one cares.
Yep.
Because the other 95% is done, right? We don't need to talk about all these things that I can control the legislature. We only need to talk about that I can make sure that you can still wear a mask because your evil, horrible, corporatist overlord boss would strip your right to wear a mask from you because they don't care about you because they're a Republican. They're a conservative. They care about Donald Trump, and they want to go with Donald Trump. I'm going to protect you. I'm going to do it. You need to make sure that I can keep these powers so I can protect you. That's what he's saying to you. That is what he's saying to you.
Like how is the entire state not up in arms after a speech like that?
Because they feel protected.
And they're just going,
so safe now.
You watch the fucking Twitter feed, dude, and it's so sycophantic. It's we love you, Jay Inslee. Thank you for saving us and protecting us from the evil Republicans and blah blah blah.
Comments are
when they're enabled.
The complete opposite. They're the complete opposite.
Yep. Yeah, I've noticed that too.
No. Yes.
It's bad, man. It's real bad. And that's the kind of leadership that leads us to our current state of Second Amendment affairs in this
There's
state.
one more thing I want to hit on, Jay, and then we can move on to that because there's a quote that he has here. Yeah, it was because I started for a second. I really agreed with him for like a half a second.
Whoa.
I was like, oh my God, I'm
life shattering.
Yes. So one of the things that he did in this press conference said he was ordering all state agencies to identify and terminate any Russian business ties that they had. Right.
Oh, word,
I was like,
word.
Okay, I'm here for that. If you want to make sure that our state, because that's right up the tilt of the far left, right? It's like, we're not going to do this. And if that's what you want to do, I'm here for it because at this point, fuck Russia. They are actively infringing on the liberty of the Ukrainian people. They're actively infringing on the sovereignty of the Ukrainian people. I'm here for it. If you want to make sure that tax dollars aren't going to support the Russians, I'm here for it, right? So he says that and then immediately says, and I'm emotional about this because this is a quote, because our democracy was attacked on January 6th and continues to be attacked by those who partake in the big lie. We are fighting for it in Washington. We're fighting for democracy. That's why, right?
I remember
that's why
this
it's so
now.
emotional.
Yep.
Because we are also fighting for democracy here on January 6th. January 6th is the same thing as what's happening in the Ukraine right now. Those 500 Russian soldiers that are dead, the thousands of Ukrainian civilians that are dead, murdered by Russian military. That's the same thing as January 6th.
Yeah. It's
same thing.
Governor Inslee is basically the equivalent of Volodymyr Zelensky. I mean, and he wants to make sure that we know that. I mean, he's basically a wartime, governor at this point. And we should respect him as much as we should. Is Jay Inslee up for re-election this year? Not this year.
I'm going to his Wikipedia right now.
He did just survive a recall, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, because people have been trying to recall him for a while.
Been in office since 2013. Let's see. I'm just trying to see the last time that he was elected.
Governors can hang out for a minute. Well, because the Lauren Culp election was a recall election, correct? That was not the general.
He was elected in 2020.
Oh, so it was.
Re-elected in 2020 was the vote. There was a push for a recall that didn't make it.
Yeah.
And
recalls
so
will never make it, man.
Inslee became the first Washington governor elected to a third term since Dan Evans was reelected in 1972. And so that means that he's in for the next 22 for 2 more years, and Jay Inslee will well, I was going to say, and then he'll be out, but he'll be up for re-election. So,
yeah, because governors, I don't think have that pesky kind of term limit problem. I don't think
so.
Because didn't Bloomberg do like 4 in New York or something like that? I don't know. Them governors get weird, and I bet you every state constitution spells it out pretty clearly. I would sure hope. Otherwise, what are we doing here? So yeah, good times.
Yeah. So that was the last point that I had as far as the press conference goes. That just remember whatever's happening in the Ukraine, whatever it is, because it's the same thing as January 6th.
It's the same thing.
The same thing that happened on January 6th.
Our
democracy is being
another
attacked.
coup attempt.
Yep.
On our democracy.
Coup attempt. Yes, a coup attempt. It's too much. Where no members of the military are involved.
No.
Where there's, the only person who's killed is a civilian.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very, very interesting.
Soft ass motherfucker.
Yeah. So next we have a 2A update for the state. We've talked a lot about this over the last few weeks, and last night,
the worst
Friday, was the closing of the legislative session for Washington State, and we have the magazine ban that was passed last night, and also the ghost gun bill that was passed last night. Can you tell me?
Yes.
When I read the bill for the magazine ban, it was 10. Even this morning on the radio, they said it was 15. Was that did she misspeak? Is that what it is? Because I feel like
believe she misspoke.
I feel like even the article I have,
I have it here. I have the actual engrossed Senate bill,
and it's 10, right?
And it was 10 when I read it this morning.
Yeah, and this says 10 also.
Engrossed Senate bill. Oh, I got it right here. It was 10 rounds. It's towards the top. Yeah, no, I know it's 10 rounds. We're going to go ahead and say that. And then if I need to add a correction to it, we will. But I'm fairly confident it's 10.
It was introduced as 17 as we went over the last time. And then after it was brought onto the floor, it was amended down to 10, which is obviously an attempt to mislead people. Because even when we talked about it, I was like, oh, well, at least it's 17. Not like at least it's 17, but they're doing this because people said 17. All the times that people complain about 10, they said 17 is a standard number of rounds. It's very common number of rounds in a 9mm handgun, a full-size 9mm handgun is 17. So introduced as 17, amended to 10, passed through the House and then through the Senate, and now is on his way to Jay Inslee's desk, where he will definitely sign it into law.
All right, here we go.
So I know...
quote, large capacity magazines means an ammunition feeding device with the capacity to accept more than 10 rounds of ammunition.
More than 10.
Or any conversion kit, part, or combination of parts from which such a device can be assembled if this part or possession or under the control of the same person. So yeah, 10 rounds. There it is right there.
This is the magazine.
You can't have that.
For the handgun that I carry every single day. This is the magazine that came with my firearm. This is the magazine that will continue to be in my firearm. This is the magazine that my firearm was made to accept.
I got a 10 round in.
Yeah. No.
I only have one 10 round. I think the rest of them are larger. Shisha.
So
that's fun.
Title of my last piece that we wrote for the newsletter, which again on the Patreon, if you want to go there, become a patron, help us make more better content. I think you're still in the search.
Yeah, I just gotta tap into OBS, otherwise it doesn't like it when I switch cameras.
Yeah. So the title of my last piece for, again, on the Patreon, go there, subscribe, help us make more better content, is if you do not try, I will not comply. I did everything that I could as an individual. I know that 15,000 other people in this state did everything they could to try and get the legislature to understand what they were doing, because I feel very, very confident that the people who just passed this law don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're talking about. They have minimal, if any, understanding of firearms, the way that they work, probably the Second Amendment as a whole. I will not comply with this. This is absolutely ludicrous. There's a grandfather clause, there's all the things. I don't care. I don't care. If I go somewhere, if I have the opportunity to buy a magazine with more than 10 rounds in it, I will buy it. I will sell them to other people. I will give them to other people. I don't care. I am telling the state now, I am doing this. For the rest of the time that I live in this state, and this is a law, I will break this law. I will not comply with this. I will not comply.
It's an unconstitutional law.
I'm not doing this. The next one is obviously the ghost gun bill that passed. I have a piece here. This is from the Alliance for Gun Responsibility. They put out, I'm going to go ahead and send this to you. Yep, they put out a statement last night because they're just so jazzed.
Jazzed.
I'm pulling up Signal.
Update available. I love the updates. So much signal all the time.
Yeah, I'm just going to send it to you in our regular one because our group conversation didn't switch over to here.
Yeet.
But yeah, so this is from the Alliance for Gun Responsibility. They're just so jazzed that we've done this. So I'll read part of the statement here. Olympia, Washington. Today, the Washington State Senate approved 2 vital gun responsibility bills, HB 1705 to prohibit ghost guns and HB 1630 to restrict firearms at public meetings and election-related locations, right? And this second one I want to touch on just for a second because this has to do with prohibits open carry at local government meetings and restricts firearms at school board meetings and election-related offices and facilities. The issue that I have with this, I'm sure a lot of people may not understand, is a little bit of a deeper kind of gun guy view, right? This directly falls in line with the idea that guns are scary and guns are bad. Because if you see a gun, that person wants to hurt you. This is called in here an intimidation bill, right? That's exactly what it's called. It's to help in this particular statement. It says somewhere about intimidation, gun violence are preventable. This bill will make our elected officials, all residents who want to make their voices heard at public meetings safer. No one should have to experience the threat of gun violence to participate in civil life. Sharing your voice and your opinions, not your gun, is what makes your democracy go round. So this, again, falls directly in line with guns are scary. Guns are bad. If someone has a gun around you, they want to hurt you probably. It's not because they want to protect you. It's not because they want to protect yourself. It's because they want to intimidate you into doing what they want.
Now, isn't it interesting that we can get language like that in a we have a constitutional open carry state. How is that? I mean, what are we talking about now? I mean, you're in a state where you're allowed to you're constitutionally. It is I don't want to say allowed, but for lack of a better term at the moment, I'm going to say it's constitutionally allowed to carry a gun with you in an open forum anywhere in the state. It is constitutional. It is your constitutional right as a citizen of Washington State to do that.
Not anymore.
But it's also intimidation now.
Yep.
I don't quite.
Oh, here's it is. In 2021, it's the final paragraph. The legislature took action to reject armed intimidation by prohibiting open carry at the Capitol, protest, and demonstrations. HB 1630 extends this safeguard by prohibiting open carry at public local government meetings and prohibiting the knowing carry and possession of firearms at school board meetings and election-related offices. So it's not even open carry. You can't even have a gun at the school board meeting in general. You can't conceal carry here. You can't do any of that shit here. Fuck you. Fuck you.
I would say, how does that not completely and utterly go against? These are government institutions telling you you cannot exercise your Second Amendment right. I mean, that is in direct violation. Am I totally missing the base here? I don't understand how the government can say you cannot have a weapon on you if you come to our property. It feels like, unless I'm missing something, that's like the entire. You've just completely usurped the Second Amendment altogether. You're the only people allowed not to tell us that.
Yes.
I don't. Okay. So this is just fun. We're just living in. The Constitution's just a piece of paper. I forgot.
And the next one is 1705. I have the actual language from, the
Ghost guns.
Yep, this is the ghost gun bill. And this is from actually my article because this is from the bill itself, that I pulled. 1705 is to prohibit any person from the manufacturer, causing the manufacture, or causing the assembly of an untraceable firearm, right? So that means that's from.
There's a lot of causal language there that I'm highly uncomfortable with.
Yeah, that's from the bill itself, and this is from this article from the Alliance for Gun Responsibility. 1705, sponsored by Rep. Liz Berry, D36, restricts the manufacture, assembly, sale, transfer, purchase, possession, transport, and receipt of ghost guns, untraceable, unserialized firearms, and unfinished receivers. It was approved 26 to 23.
Contraband.
Yep. So, and then later down it says, ghost guns are unserialized and untraceable firearms that anyone, including prohibited purchasers, children, domestic abusers, and gun traffickers, can buy online at gun shows or from local dealers.
That's a lie.
They're often sold through kits, including all the parts, equipment, and instructions necessary to build these weapons at home. Ghost guns are not serialized, making it difficult for law enforcement to trace their origin and easy for gun traffickers to divert them into the criminal market.
Again,
I'm telling you, gun traffickers are not selling ghost guns.
No.
That's not
how any of that works.
No. So There are many things that you can do, and I'm going to tell everyone now, there are jigs that you can go and buy online to finish your own receivers.
So jig being like a template, you can run some tools around and all
you can
this.
buy a router, you can do these things. I'm not going to go into too deep of detail, but I will not comply with this. I just picked up a 3D printer. You cannot stop the signal. You cannot stop the signal. I will not comply. I'm not doing this. I am not doing this. We are seeing right now on the other side of the globe in multiple nations why civilians should have firearms that the government doesn't fucking know about. Yep. You shouldn't know about everything that I have. You should not know. That cuts directly against the Second Amendment. You should not know. It is none of your goddamn business. You should not know. It doesn't matter. You cannot stop the signal. I will not comply. I'm not doing this. I will not do this. I will print and I will cut out whatever the fuck I want. I am not doing this.
Amen.
No, it's a whole hashtag if you want to go follow it. You cannot stop the signal. You cannot stop the signal.
Hashtag cannot stop the signal?
Nope. Hashtag can't stop the signal.
Can't stop the signal.
Not doing it.
Yee.
You cannot defeat this. If gun traffickers continue to traffic guns, why do you think that this will work?
Wasn't there just a giant record bust of a cartel with a bunch of American guns that we sold them back during Fast and the Furious again?
I'm not doing this. Yeah. I will not comply with this. I will continue to print and cut out whatever I want. I'm not doing this. This is completely unconstitutional. This is a direct cut against your rights. This is a direct attempt by the Washington legislature to disarm you while speaking in favor and in support of Ukrainian militias. Yeah, they're actively doing the same thing while trying to disarm you. They're taking the same weapons from you, lesser weapons from you than the Ukrainians are using to defend themselves right now, to defend their own country right now.
Now, mind you, logical fallacy here, easy to spot. But if someone was to if they were trying to argue, well, the government's handing out guns to the civilians now so that they can defend themselves. Why don't we just do that? What's wrong with that scenario, Donovan?
I don't know. I would rather
lay up, dunk.
Yeah. Would you rather have to learn how to use a gun in 5 seconds or take as long as you want and actually, I don't know what the fuck you're doing. Yeah. Right? You know how long it takes to be good at shooting? I'm fucking terrible at shooting now.
No,
I've been shooting for 3 years now, right? No, it's not easy to be good at shooting. No. It doesn't happen in 5 seconds. So that seems ludicrous, right?
How about the fact that, what makes you think your government's going to be the one giving you guns? Why isn't it your government overthrowing you and throwing you into camps, not someone else's?
Well, and it's my understanding that
I've heard that before.
No,
over the last
certainly.
couple days, I'm like, you guys?
No, and it's my understanding that the Ukraine gave up the nuclear arms that they had for agreements of protection from Russia and the United States. What the fuck are we doing now? We're talking actively about nuclear warfare for a war that's happening in Ukraine. So it seems like there are a lot of very obvious examples of why you shouldn't disarm yourself and why the government doesn't have the ability to take your guns from you, right? People are being locked up, and we've gone over this so many times. There are literally quarantine camps in Australia right now. Those people don't have firearms. They don't have them. You're not allowed to have them, right? It's against the law. And there's all this talk, we'll get into later, Kevlar vests and all this bullshit, deer and Kevlar vests and all this stuff.
Oh my God, I love that one.
The Second Amendment is not for hunting.
It has nothing to do with hunting.
It's not for animals. It's not for
I mean, it could be used for when you live in an area where there are wild animals, it could be utilized to defend yourself from the elements and from nature, but that's almost like a happy side effect of being armed. It's not the sole intent. It's not why it's in the governing documents of the nation. It's there ensconced in government documents so that it can be used in and around the situations regarding government and your safety.
The Second Amendment is for tyrants, not for animals.
Ooh.
Okay.
Ooh, I like that.
And that's actually, I'm going to go ahead and send you.
Where did you find that little piece of glory?
Yep. That's from this video that I saw. Let's see. Share to.
Yep, yep.
Oh,
I never would have.
Share to Messenger. I'm going to message it to you
so
on
scary.
Instagram. Oh, Jesus
Instagram.
Except
it's an Insta message?
Yeah. except when it tries to make me do it. Share to direct.
Yeah, it's not easy just to share stuff.
No.
Man, especially Instagram. Which, while you're doing that, just to let everybody know, the Lex Friedman podcast had an episode with the Mark Zuckerberg, man. And as compared to his normal videos, he usually gets around within like the first week 250 to 500K views. This he did the other day at 2.2 million already.
Ooh,
Obviously
Jesus.
a big deal, but I can't wait to check that out. Fucking Meta father himself.
So I sent you just a short video
On the Insta?
Yep.
Okay, let me check this out real quick. What did I do with Instagram?
Yep, and it pertains to Joe Biden, but this is where I got this from, and this is
Joe Biden.
It's on your personal one.
Oh. Well, in that case.
Oh, I can send it to. I can do this.
Por favor. I don't even know what my login is, to
No,
be
that's
perfectly
no
honest. I keep it on my phone because my phone remembers my login. But when I get a new phone, I'm going to be really screwed.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what my login is.
There you go.
Yeah, there it is. Okay, let's see here. Shifty. Grab. Oh, it's got to load. Fucking Meta. It's the latest and greatest. Jumping over. Okay, what are we seeing here? Is there sound?
There is.
We got sound.
Think the deer are wearing Kevlar vests? Man, assault weapons with high-capacity magazines will up to 100 rounds. You think the deer are wearing Kevlar vests?
I also love the hint with Leonardo DiCaprio there for a minute. That's just classic.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, the left can't meme. The left can't create good. I don't know if you'd call that a meme video. That's a meme, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Left can't meme, dude. The right's got that shit in spades.
Yeah.
That's a legit video. I live in Massachusetts, and getting a gun permit is like going through like getting through an act of Congress. Amen, dude. That's not okay, Lenny.
And it shouldn't be that way, especially in one of the
original
OGs. Yeah, in one of the original colonies. It shouldn't be this way.
Shays Rebellion in Mass? I can't remember.
Don't put that on me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
put
you're
that
like
on
you're like my go-to for U.S. history.
No,
sometimes.
don't put that on me.
Word. All right, I'm gonna Google that.
It shouldn't be that way. This
Should not be.
This is a direct infringement on the Second Amendment. We have every reason to believe that the government will not protect you if we find ourselves in a situation like they are in Ukraine right now.
Mm-hmm.
You should not trust the government to protect you. They do not have the capability to protect everybody in the United States. They do not have the capability. They don't have the power. They don't have the infrastructure. They don't have the logistical understanding. They don't have the ability to protect the entirety of the United States from itself.
Yeah,
They
can't even
don't
do that.
have the power to protect you, especially if they are the ones trying to kill you. This is not right. This is unconstitutional. We talked about the magazine ban. There were 15,000 people compared to the just over 1,000 that did not want this. They voiced their opposition to these bills, and they passed them anyway. They do not care about you. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't care about your rights. They don't care about your safety. They don't care about your protection. They don't care. They do not care. You should not trust them. You have no reason to trust them. You need to trust yourself, and that's why you need this. That's why everyone needs this, because you can trust yourself. I'm very upset about this, obviously. I'm very upset about this. I said, I will not comply with this.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot stop the signal. I will continue to print and cut out whatever I want.
I mean, this is the most egregious overreach in 2A that I've experienced personally as in our lifetimes.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a pretty big one. It's highly upsetting. So I think on that lovely note, if you would like to maybe wrap up this segment.
Yeah, I
don't know,
believe
if
that
you
that
got
is the
anything
last
else?
thing. No, I believe that's all that I have here. We have, let me ask you this, pop culture, 2A update.
Can confirm,
Is
by the
the
way,
pressure-
Shays Rebellion, an armed uprising in Western Massachusetts.
There you go. There you go.
Damn, I feel proud of myself.
What we're going to do again, we talked about this. The stream is not going to end. We're
Nope.
going to go to a quick break stream. We'll be back in 3 minutes with some beers and empty bladders.
Indeed.
And
I'm doing the pee-pee dance,
we'll be
baby.
back for our next segment. It's going to be segment number 2. We're going to talk about the State of the Union.
Amen.
Tune in, and we will be back in 3 minutes, everybody. While we're away, I want to again remind you to like, comment, subscribe to the YouTube. Go over if you don't follow us on Instagram, go to the Instagram at Salt of the Streets, Facebook, fuck Facebook, Salt of the Streets, saltofthestreets.com for all the information, including our personals right there, alpaca_Don on Instagram, Salt of the Street on Twitter, Big Bird Offie on both of those things. Subscribe, like, follow, share it, tell your friends. We're back in 3 minutes, everybody. Peace.
Welcome to the Salt of the Streets, coming at you every week with this food for thought. Hope you ready to eat.